For I have got another girl, another girl, making me say that I've got nobody but you. But as from today, well, I've got somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl, another girl. She's sweeter than all the girls, and I met quite a few. Nobody in all the world can do what she can do. And so I'm telling you, this time you better stop, for I have got another girl, another girl who will love me till the end. Through thick and thin, she will always be my friend. I don't want to say that I've been unhappy with you, but as from today, well, I've seen somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl who will love me till the end. Through thick and thin, she will always be my friend. I don't want to say that I've been unhappy with you, but as from today, well, I've seen somebody that's new. I ain't no fool and I don't take what I don't want, for I have got another girl, another girl, another girl.
Yeah. Man, that's so much fun. So groovy. Hey everybody, Ryan here, playing this awesome tune. Man, I love this music. This one is so much fun. It's so, I guess, different in that it's got that sort of chicken picking country type sound. This one had a lot going on that's just kind of more than meets the eye. I learned a ton doing this, and I hope it's interesting and informational for you other Beatles fans out there. So first, let's talk about what Ringo's doing here. There's stuff that there's no way people know he's doing this. And I honestly think that my take on this is going to be different than what anybody else has had before. Deciding how and when he played all these parts. Because there's the double tracked stuff, right? Well, there's a quote out there that says George Martin said there was double tracked tom tom. I couldn't chase down the source of this quote. This quote's floating around in lots of places. It's on various websites, but I can't find the source of it, so I don't know where it comes from. But I'm glad I read it. It got me thinking, and of course, when I was listening through, lo and behold, there it is. There's this tom that's double tracked. And also, I really think the snare drum is double tracked. Most of the time, you can hear two snare drum notes happening very distinctly, so much so that I wondered, is Ringo playing flams? Like, is he doing two-handed snare drum? But you don't ever hear three snare drum notes, so he can't have been doing, this pattern I played the first pass through, and then adding another track with two snare drum notes, because you'd hear three notes somewhere. Somehow you could tell that that was going on. But I don't. I only ever hear just two notes. And then what's also interesting is that on the notes when the tom plays, where there's also a snare drum, you can't hear two snare drum notes and a tom note. It's always just those two. So, because at first, I thought he'd be playing like a one. But then you would hear the double tracked snare, and it never happens. It's only double tracked snare or two snare drum note hits when there's not tom. So I ended up doing it the way that I did because that's the best explanation. So what I mean by that is, like, what did he leave out the first pass through? Could he have done it with no snare drum so that he could do it later with two hands and done, just this? Like, maybe, but why? That's to me almost like saying a keyboard part. I'm gonna leave all the D's out or the F's out or whatever, and then I'll double track and go back in and I'll add them all in later. Like, why? Why would you do that? If you do that too much, at some point you're going to kind of wreck your groove. You kind of need some of these things to be together. Like the ride and the kick, I think you have to play together. Because I considered that too. Did he do just kick and snare and tom and add the ride later? I can't fathom that being the case because it would mess with the groove. It would change how the groove feels. I have to conclude personally that kick and ride are together. And if that's true, I think that there's snare in there too. And then he double tracks snare and tom. Now, why not do the tom the way I was showing? Why not have the tom and the snare together? You know, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can't think of a good musical reason to do that. My only thought, and this is silly, you can roast me for this, Ringo. If you want to let us know, help us out here. You can roast me for this, Ringo. The only thing I can think of is this is how you would play it if you had one stick available. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, is there any chance he's just doing it one-handed? Well, yeah, if he's wanting to do a smoke at the same time. Like, there's plenty of video though of that happening. Ringo's smoking while he's jamming along, just having fun, like in the movies and the films they did. So maybe that's what's going on. He needed to smoke while he was double tracking and did it one-handed, and that's how it came out. I don't know.
No, 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 I don't smoke it no more. I'm tired of waking up on the floor.
But I really do think that the way I played it and showed it here with the double tracking is the way it is. Why doesn't it say double tracked snare? I don't know. Maybe you didn't need to say double tracked tom, tom, and snare. It just said tom because there was snare the first time through and they didn't want to confuse it. One's the whole kit or one's the tom. Like, I don't know. But I really think the way I showed it is the way it is. One point I want to make about double tracking the snare drum is I'm not really trying too hard to like get it right on it or to not get it right on it. I'm just kind of just going for it the way I imagine Ringo would do it. And you should be able to hear, if you listen closely, sometimes where the snare drum notes from the two passes don't line up exactly. Like there's maybe a few where it does, but I would imagine out of 100 notes, 97 don't line up or something like that. So I want to refer the watchers now to the video I did on birthday, where all the experts say, and everyone kind of like puts it out there as a fact, Ringo double tracked the snare drum because there's an anecdote that says he did, and there's one of the tracks was labeled snare drum. After the original 4 tracks were put down, the backing tracks, there's more tracks and one was snare drum. You can't hear it though. You can't hear anything. If you listen to just the drums on birthday, there is not a smidge of evidence. It's like 100 out of 100 notes were perfect, and there's more than 100, I would think. I can't believe that he's actually double tracked it. I think they've boosted the signal or done something else. And this tune proves my theory, or at least maybe not proof. It's evidence for my opinion being correct. Where when you double track the snare drum, it's such a precise instrument with such a strong initial attack that if you're not on perfectly, it's really obvious. So I don't know how well you can hear it in my version here with the whole band, but definitely listen to the link I'll post of just the drums, and it's clear as day that there's a lot of times you can hear 2 snare drum notes on that backbeat. The tom thing, I just think is also just such a subtle, simple little piece of genius. Subtle is such a good word for it. It's so simple. There's just no complexity in this at all, but the way he puts it in and where he puts it is just so musical. It's just like music 101, where he adds it in during the verse, just in the first 8 of the verse, in the next 4 where he's leading up to something else. It's not there. It's very purposeful. That pattern stays the whole time. In the sort of middle 8, in the B section of the tune, which thanks to all the commenters for helping me understand the middle 8 vernacular. I never got that in college. So the middle 8, he puts it in on the very last bar, the 8th bar, going back into the verse. Like, it's just really purposeful. It's so subtle. It's so simple. It just doesn't take, it's not rocket science. And maybe that's the genius of it. Because again, if you listen to Paul's band playing it now, it's just there's so many more little things that the guy's putting in all the time. And sorry, I don't mean to sound like I'm bashing on Abe Laboriel Jr. I'm not. He's a million times the drummer I will ever be. He ain't Ringo though, which I think he would happily agree with. The coolness and of Ringo's simplicity, the coolness of his subtlety, just can't be overstated. And any drummer, including myself, just kind of naturally would doing it live would do it different. Would add in all these things that don't need to be there. Would play the kick with way less subtlety. Would not do this tom part. Like what Ringo did is just really, it's just kind of next level cool in a way you've just really never noticed before, I bet. And I think that way that he's doing it is a little genius, to be honest, because hear me out here. It's so musical. It's such a solid musical part. It's almost like an A-B drum part. It's a 2-bar drum phrase, essentially. You've got like this feel. So just playing like that to demonstrate it. The ride's, of course, continuing all the time, but it's like bar 1 and then bar 2, bar 1 and then bar 2, which fits in perfectly with the harmonic progression. This is a 2 feel that they got going on here. I would define this as, yeah, a quick 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, because the snare drum is on the 2 and 4. That backbeat kind of defines where the beat is. But the harmonic progression changes every, like, the bass line, right? That's a 2 feel, and it's changing every 2 bars to fit what Ringo's doing, or Ringo's doing what fits the harmonic progression, what fits the bass line. That's pretty darn cool, in my opinion. And another interesting thing about that is Paul on the bass is playing like a 1, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, bum, 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 bum. You get that type of rhythm from Paul, which is not the rhythm you get on the bass drum. And I think that that's really quite cool. Those two combined give you ba ba bum ba 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 bum bum ba ba bum bum ba, which I just think is great. Like it's really interesting to me, and I guess in a way it's really raw that those two parts don't line up. Because in today's world, it feels like it always lines up. The bass player's doing this, so the kick's going to do this, or vice versa. Kick wants to have this pattern, then the bass guitar better follow. If you listen to the video of Paul's band playing this live recently, I can't remember what year it's from, 2015, something like that. Paul's drummer is Abe Laboriel Jr., has been for a while. Just an incredible drummer, right? Like, amazing. However, the parts he's playing are very sort of like modern corporate rock, corporate pop style stuff. I would encourage you to watch that and listen to how the drummer plays it and compare it to what Ringo's doing here. Almost all the time you can hear the drummer. First of all, he doesn't play the swing jazz pattern on the ride like I'm doing. He just plays straight quarter notes. And then he plays the same thing as the bass guitar rhythm on his kick drum. So he's really got this. That kind of thing, which I'm like, that's just a lot less interesting to me. Now, he does a lot of things in the moment to kind of help with the live performance, and live and studio are different, but you can still just kind of get the point I'm making, I think, which is that back then when the Beatles recorded this and Ringo's influence was in on it, the end result is so much more interesting than sort of modern corporate pop rock music, in my opinion. And I can back my opinion up with all these things I'm explaining. Like that is just so much more interesting and so much more cool to me. So props to Ringo. My gosh, like that is just such a cool thing. I'm sure it wasn't just Ringo who, did this. Like it's always the fact that there's the 4 of them. All 4 of the Beatles and their producer, came up with something that alone none of them would have done. But you got to give the lion's share of the credit to this drum part to Ringo, and to how it fits in to Ringo, and to how musical it is and how it supports the tune to Ringo. Just bar none. So go Ringo. You're the man, dude. Like, awesome. I think that's probably enough for this tune. It's really, really simple. I just love the groove. It's such a simple groove. It's actually quite hard to play. I just, for me personally, it's hard to play this quick kick pattern and keep it consistent. For Ringo is just so good at it. It's so consistent. I'm positive he's not putting the beater, like driving the beater into the head, like this. No way. Like I'd be shocked if that's what's happening. I think he's letting it come off for a rounder sound, but he's just got such a good tone. It's so consistent. It's just wonderful. So I'm trying to mimic that the best I can, and it's hard. And it reminds me, it's reminiscent of the drum part in Green Onions, which the boss man himself, Al Jackson Jr., laid down a few years earlier. Like that is just one of the best all-time drum performances in my opinion. Any drummer out there, put that on and play along to it and try to play the whole tune, no fills and just play the groove like just a boss of groove. So this performance by Ringo on this tune is reminiscent of that, and it's wonderful. This is just a lovely, beautiful drum performance. Such a fun little tune. Hope you like my version of it. Ringo Starr's the man. I love the Beatles. Catch you on the next one. I want to say thank you so much for the donations I've gotten thus far. It's really going to help me a lot to be able to get better sounds and more varied sounds to do more songs for you. So thanks. A sincere thanks to all of you who have helped. And if you want to donate and kind of help the cause here, there's a link in the video descriptions or on the channel homepage. Thanks.